He was holding what officers described as a rifle-style pistol, assault style.
So this man, a father of 7 children, was caught on 2019 shooting outside his school. And he got a suspended sentence. He posted a troubling post, and he was also separating from his wife. Separation are usually a very crucial time. We also had the vice government of Virginia, the former vice lieutenant government of Virginia, shooting his wife and committing suicide. And at least he spared the children, also African American. I think Candace Owen, an African American, should be more occupied with the African American domestic violence problem that is happening too often than to start looking into Israel. Domestic violence happens everywhere, but the way it's happening in the African American communities is alarming, is very alarming, and it shows that there's a big problem. Domestic violence during separation is not unusual. Shooting 7 of all your 7 children while separating from your wife is an alarming note. And he used to work as a guard on an American National Guard. So he had access to weapons. And yet, 2019, he didn't even get a prison sentence for shooting outside his school. So what's going on? What cover-up is going on there? And so this is both a problem of people that are supposed to be guarding other people, a lieutenant governor, a man on National Guard, and this is a man who's supposed to...
Different weapon, heavier firepower. This was not a man who was unprepared. This was a man who walked out of his house that morning with more than one gun on him, knowing exactly what he was about to do. The detectives will spend months trying to answer the question that every grieving person in Shreveport is asking. How? How does a father get to a place where he puts a pistol to his children's heads while they're sleeping? How does a man who posted a daddy-daughter date post on Saturday afternoon end 8 children's lives on Sunday morning?
This man used to go to church every Sunday. He was in the National Guard. So that's not the red light. You wouldn't think he would be the one to take his children's life. But obviously there is a big problem, domestic violence, and especially in the African American communities, that a man doesn't think he has a choice.
They don't have a clean answer. Nobody ever does. Shamar Elkins never saw a courtroom for this. He never faced a jury, never heard the charges read out loud. After the carjacking, he drove out of Shreveport and into Bossier Parish. Louisiana law enforcement picked up the chase. They knew who he was. They knew what he had just done. When you are hunting a man who just killed 8 children, the chase does not end easy. It ended on the 400 block of Brompton Lane in Bossier City. Officers confronted him. Shots were fired on both sides. When the gunfire stopped, Shamar Elkins was dead in the street. 3 officers had discharged their weapons. At first, the assumption was that police gunfire brought him down. Then came the honest admission from Shreveport police. It is unclear whether Shamar Elkins died at the hands of the officers or whether he ended things himself with that rifle style.
In 2019, he was shooting outside his school and got only a suspended sentence. So this is what happens later when you don't deal with people who show clear signs of distress. Shooting outside a school, and he received a suspended sentence.
Pistol. Louisiana State Police was brought in to investigate the shooting of Elkins. That's standard any time officers are involved in a death. Shreveport police said nothing suggests any wrongdoing by the officers who responded. No officers were harmed in that final exchange. That was the one piece of anything close to good news that came out of Cedar Grove that day. And just like that, it was over. The man was dead. The children were dead. 2 women were in hospital beds fighting to survive. A teenager was being treated for injuries from a fall, and a whole city was waking up to a story that none of them were ready to hear. Shreveport had never seen anything like this. Not ever. City Councilman Grayson Boucher said that morning that the killings had more than doubled the city's homicides for the entire year. In a single morning, 1 man, 1 house. More than half of the city's murders for all of 2026. Mayor Tom Arsenault called it maybe the worst tragic situation Shreveport had ever had. The House Speaker, whose congressional district covers that neighborhood, called it heartbreaking. The governor of Louisiana said he and his wife were heartbroken. Everybody with a microphone said all the right words. The problem with the right words is that the right words don't bring 8 children back. Here's what this case keeps coming back to. Over 30% of the crimes in Shreveport are domestic. Over 30% of the murders in Shreveport are domestic. Domestic violence is not a private matter. It never was. It began between 2 adults in a failing marriage, and it ended with 8 caskets small enough to be carried by 1 pallbearer each. Shamar Elkins had given us a warning. Back in 2019, he fired a gun near a school full of children. The system gave him 18 months of probation and let him walk. For the next 7 years, he lived in that same community, raised those same children, and kept access to those same kinds of weapons.
Unbelievable.
Nobody went back to check. Nobody revisited him. Nobody asked if the man who shot near a school might one day be the man who would shoot at a child. He told us 10 days before the killings that something was wrong. He posted about his mental health, about prayer. We all scrolled past it. Not because we didn't care.
Hello, I'm Robin, and I'm 70, and I'm struggling.
Because there are 10 posts like that in every feed every day, and we have all learned to keep moving. That has to change. If you are in a relationship where the anger is getting louder, where the control is getting tighter, where the threats are starting to feel real, please get out. Call somebody. Tell somebody. The National Domestic Violence Hotline is 1-800-799-7233. It doesn't matter what time it is. It doesn't matter how small the thing feels. Make the call. If you are the friend or the family or the neighbor of somebody who is in a situation like that, don't assume somebody else is going to step in. Don't assume the Easter photo means everything is fine at home. Don't assume the daddy-daughter date post means the house is safe. Sometimes the loudest cry for help is the quietest post on a Tuesday afternoon. 8 children went to bed on a Saturday night in a neighborhood called Cedar Grove. 8 children did not wake up on Sunday morning. The youngest of them was 3 years old. Say their names. Jayla, Shayla, Kayla, Layla, Markaden, Soraya, Kadarian, Braylon. Before you go, I need you to do 3 things for
So, look at these poor children.
those babies.
And we also had, less than a week, I believe, this former lieutenant governor of Virginia, shooting his dentist wife, and he's a lawyer, by the way, and he committed suicide while their children were at home. So, what does Candace Owen, an African-American woman, is concerned with? Is she concerned with domestic violence in the African-American community? No, not at all. She is concerned with one thing only, and that is Israel.